RocketEthereal here. My goal today is to get good at Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus or die trying. Championship Edition DX Plus, that is an absolute mouthful. My goal here is to crush this game as hard as I can, but I'm going in a bit blind because I have very little experience with the original Pac-Man, and other than the neon-filled screenshots on the Steam store page for this title, I have no idea what to expect. Already I'm a bit confused because the mode that it puts me on here is Championship 2, and seeing as these are different game modes, it seems like there's a heck of a lot of different ways to play. Okay, what is Pac-Man Dungeon? What does that even mean? I need to destroy this game, if for no other reason than to find out what Pac-Man Dungeon looks like, because this sounds ridiculous. Look at all these modes. There's so many modes. Big Eater, Highway 1 and 2, Junction. I have no idea what these are. Let's figure out what's going on here. Okay, so I just selected Championship 2, which I thought was its own single game mode. And then there's all these sub modes in here. I don't understand why there's different time trials. Maybe those are for different level layouts, I guess? Well, we're gonna find out. I guess I'm going to start with score attack. It says 5 minutes as opposed to the 10-minute score attack, so I'm guessing this is just for shorter gameplay. Now, instead of just launching right into the game, it presents me with a bunch of different options. So difficulty ranges from beginner to normal to expert. Seeing as I am a child of the 90s and do not have a whole lot of experience with this, I think I'm going to try to start on easy. Visual starts at C, even though there's apparently a Type B, a Type A. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Selecting a visual character or BGM from the downloadable content pack is back, automatically switches the other items. Okay, so there's like consistent themes. What is going on here? Look at this background. There's nothing original about this. Pac is back. What is this referring to? Because as far as I'm aware, it's not referring to the original Pac-Man. This looks nothing like the original Pac-Man. I don't understand. Classic is locked. Rally X, I'm actually familiar with that. Rally X and Dig Dug, these are two other Namco games from decades gone long by, and the visual theme is showing very distinctly here. Just a reskin of everything to match the visuals of these other retro games. I am going to say, let's go with the pastel Legos. That looks like fun. Character. Oh, there's a bunch of different character skins. They really like their optional skins here. I don't really understand why I would want to change all of these things. Well, I can just change the color for no apparent reason. This pointless customization is kind of baffling me. But let's get started on this and see if I can not absolutely suck at this. I am making the assumption that the controls are going to be WASD related. Yes, they are. For some reason, oh, okay, it's freaking Metal Gear Solid over here. I have alerted the sleeping ghosts and thus lost my stealth status. Power up works just as you would think it would. You can devour those ghosts pretty easily. What's interesting to me is the patterns that are showing up here. This is absolutely nothing like the original Pac-Man because these dots are showing up in waves based on... I'm not sure what they're based on, but they just show up in these small little spaces, and then I have to eat them as fast as I can as I'm on this 5-minute time limit. I'm guessing, because Pac-Man is traditionally a very difficult game, when you bring the ghosts into the equation, that the ghosts are sleeping in order to give the player a better chance of surviving for the 5 minutes that it gives you for the score attack. And so instead of having to constantly dodge ghosts, they are there as a strategy that you can execute in order to score more points by timing the acquisition of your power-ups well, and taking a route that's going to get you those ghosts quickly enough before your power-up wears off. And then the punishment for not eating them is that they just disappear, and that's lost points. That graphical effect on that ghost is a little disconcerting. Oh, the ghosts will wake up other ghosts, and you can see that there is actually a ghost, which is, okay, why are they taking the power-ups with them? I would like to eat these power-ups. But instead, they're dragging them around. You guys are seeing this, right? Now, I'm hesitant to just walk over one that has a power-up on it. Alright, now I can just turn around and devour all these little suckers. Look at that! Oh my goodness. I think that's what's referred to as a scoregasm. Oh. Nom 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 nom. This is some serious Waka Waka here. This is definitely Waka Waka on steroids. Oh man, and the pace is definitely sped up, although it seems as if the ghosts are arbitrarily slowing down for some reason. Oh my goodness! Wow. All right. That was a very dramatic slow-mo effect there. What's odd is that almost all the ghosts seem to just be following the same path, so they kind of just stack up. And then, should I have the opportunity to grab a power-up and turn around and start eating them, they're all in a nice little line. So it's kind of more like I'm building risk versus reward here, where the more ghosts I kind of alert, the bigger my reward is going to be when I finally have the chance to pick up a power-up. Like right now, look at this. So because I was just evading this massive chain, now I get to eat everything that was chasing me for that whole time that I didn't have a power-up available. Oh my goodness, the game is going so fast now. I still have almost 2 minutes on the clock, so I'm expecting it to get a little faster. This is a little ridiculous. And then it looks as if... Oh, what? I had a power-up going. Okay, apparently there's something I'm still not understanding here. Nope. Oh, thank you for the ability to just turn around. So far, it seems very forgiving, because if I'm about to collide with something, it's not just showing off whether or not I'm going to actually collide and lose a life. It's giving me a bit of extra time to react and change direction, so that, oh gosh, so that I don't, oh no, oh this is very bad, no! It's giving me time to change direction so that I actually have more of a chance to evade impending death, like you can see right there. I'm guessing, oh dear, this is not good. I'm not seeing anywhere that my lives are listed, so it appears to me as if, because this is a score attack mode, I have an infinite number of lives, and losing a life just means that I'm wasting time, possibly losing some sort of multiplier score bonus, which is of course not something I want to do. I want to make the most of every second I have, and I'm not going to do that if I'm spending it dead, despite that delay being considerably short. There might also be some sort of penalty for the deaths I've accumulated. We're going to find out right here, I'm sure. High score, 538.400. For some arbitrary reason, there's just a decimal in there. Having completed that 5-minute score attack, I unlocked 4 new modes, 2 of which are within the highway category, whatever that means. We should take a look at that. And 1 in the free category. I don't understand what that is, especially since Championship 2 is the name of the mode I was just playing, so that's a bit confusing. These Facebook share buttons are absolutely pointless. I know nobody on Facebook who would give a damn about me getting the Sparkster achievement in Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus. I really don't think there's anybody who would care. Not sure why that exists. No, I do not want to share anything to Facebook. Thank you, Pac-Man. I do not need you in my social media. My global ranking has risen. Oh, look at that character. The characteristic little graph with the that's actually kind of amusing. I'm not sure why I find that so funny, but it is. And so this graph is based off of my total score, which is showing right here. I got almost 550,000 apparently, and the amount of time spent. So you can see that my score kind of spiked this would have been where I got that really big chain when I was talking about the risk versus reward and being able to turn around and eat more as a result of having more ghosts chasing me. Now, how good is everybody else at this? Let's look at the Championship 2 score attack 5. Oh dear, there's a lot of people who have maxed out their score. This might be the result of hacking, because they seem to, well, maybe not. I guess that's not the traditional maximum integer number that you would normally see on a hacked leaderboard. I could be wrong. There is very little difference between these scores, which strikes me as very odd, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. But obviously I got nowhere near 2 million plus. I got about a quarter of that, which is really not bad for my first attempt. I'm in the top 157,000 people. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, number of players is right here. So I'm about in the top 50% on my first shot. That's not terrible, but we'll look to improve that as I continue on this journey here. So let's get out of the leaderboards. Let's take a look at the other things that I unlocked. So obviously I unlocked the extended score attack, which I can't think of much reason I would want to do that unless I found that score attack 5 minutes was getting really easy, because I would assume that the extra time in the 10-minute score attack gives the game greater time to speed up and thus become significantly harder. Of course, that might just be based off of your performance. I'm not sure what drove the game to change the speed, but it appeared to happen after I consumed a large chain of ghosts and thus scored a ton of points. I have to say, I really appreciate all of the scoring mechanics here. I really love the medal grade, coupled with my score as it's listed and my global ranking. That is really cool. That makes this a legitimately competitive game in some aspects. As I said, I'm not sure if the leaderboards are hacked at all, but that's not too important because the number of hackers is probably pretty low. So there's a new, course. They're called courses, not categories. They're called courses. There's a new course I've unlocked here called Highway. What is Highway? Let's find out. It appears to have pretty much the same kinds of modes. So I'm expecting there to be some sort of minor variation on gameplay that caused them to select this different... Oh, okay, so we're looking at a different layout. I'm guessing this is going to be the only difference about this, is that the layout has this sort of highway-shaped feel to it, where it's more of a free horizontal grid instead of having a lot of limiting shapes that make it more of a maze. Whether that is going to make the game easier or harder is beyond me, but we're about to find out. Of course, we're not going to see many differences in gameplay to begin with, because it starts out pretty slowly. It's probably going to take a couple minutes for us to see how this layout really affects the different gameplay. Okay, I want to eat them all? Alright, cool. Got them all. No ghosts wasted. I like how it shows all of the fruits that you collected on the side. I'm pretty sure the original Pac-Man did that too. But in here, I feel like it's going to have a greater effect for the average player, because the average player is going to eat so much more than they would in the original Pac-Man. Okay, so yes, those ghosts that are carrying the pellets actually do refresh the duration of the power-up effect. In other words, if I was being more strategic, I could save those pellet-bearing ghosts until my effect has almost run out in order to keep the effects going as long as possible. That adds this really interesting dimension to the game, because it's no longer simply about eating as many ghosts as you can. It's about strategizing when you are eating which ghosts in order to maximize your potential to score really high. Now, this game had overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and I'm already starting to see why. This sort of depth of gameplay really makes a classic and perhaps worn-out game a much more interesting experience, whether you've played it before or not, because while I haven't played it very much, I have played the original Pac-Man a few times, and I can really appreciate the differences that are manifesting in this instance. Now, see if I can get through all of these and grab another pellet. Perfect. That lets me go through these. And so I want to try to save... Oh, no. Okay, I think I understand how it decides which ghosts do and do not have the ability to eat you in return. Any ghosts that are inside the respawn box while you are powered up will spawn with the ability to eat you. And if you grab another power-up after they have spawned, then you will be able to eat them. The depth in this is really surprising. This is not something I would have expected out of a Pac-Man game, let alone a Namco game. They tend to make pretty simplistic titles. So, it appears that waking the ghosts up is actually something I should plan for as a part of my route, because in waking them up, I increase the length of their little chains, and thus increase my scoring potential when I do pick up one of those power pellets. I'm really enjoying seeing the increasing strategy as I go through and understand this more. As you can obviously see, it's having a really good effect on my gameplay, because I'm able to examine all of these elements in greater depth and make better decisions about how I'm playing this game. Okay, so the way they have the ghosts set up, they're really making use of this different layout. So they're just blocking off entire sides, and on the normal map that would give you very little space to move, but on this map, instead of being restricted to just a couple of paths, you need to focus on just maneuvering to one side of the map, which does make your escape plans a little bit different. It's not a significant difference. I guess I shouldn't be expecting that any of the different courses are really going to fundamentally change anything about Pac-Man. No matter what mode or course I pick, it's still going to be the same Pac-Man that I'm familiar with, just with this increased depth and these scoring mechanics. In other words, if you're a fan of Pac-Man, this is a very easy buy. The value that I'm seeing here is massive, and I got this on Steam today for 75% off. It was only $3.75, I believe, for all of the DLC, which is probably not really significant content. I think it was mostly cosmetic stuff, mostly skins, which again makes sense because of awareness. Oh no! Makes sense because of all of the skin options that we saw when I was starting the game. Okay, so that was a fantastic improvement on my first game, in addition to unlocking several more modes, which I have a feeling is going to happen for every game I play for a while. I scored much higher, first of all. My first game was about 536,000, I believe, and in this one I got almost to 850k. I was upwards of 800,000. And when we look at the leaderboard, oh, where is my score? My score is 32,000. 32,000 in rank, and the number of people who played is over 134,000. I was in the top 50% on my first run. Now that I understand the mechanics a bit better, and on my second try, I got well into the top 25%. That was just my first two games, and while it was on two of the easiest modes in the game, the easiest modes in the game are likely, and I'm not saying this from an educated standpoint, they are likely the most played. So this is a really good indicator of the direction I'm headed. However, I'm expecting, based on the nature of this competitive arcade game, that the other modes, that the more difficult modes, while they're going to have fewer players, the average skill level of those players is going to go up very significantly. So I'm going to get a bit of practice in after having sort of gotten down the basics of how Championship Edition actually works. And hopefully you will see some much higher scores for me, and I'll be able to explain some more details and nuances about this surprisingly deep game. I've really been pleasantly surprised by how this game really operates. As I said, I didn't know what to expect as I was going into it, but seeing that there is so much strategy and intelligence emphasized in it, as opposed to mostly just quick reflexes and a little bit of planning, that really excites me for how the rest of this game is going to work. I'm also looking forward to trying out the other two difficulties, whatever happens when I try those harder difficulties. If the game gets faster, if there's just more ghost spawns, if my paths are more limited, we're going to find out. I suspect, based on what I'm seeing in the heads-up display, that there might just be some mechanics I'm not familiar with at all. These bombs seem to represent something that I have not made use of whatsoever. I might not even know all of the controls yet. There was no tutorial. I just jumped right into the first game mode and figured it's Pac-Man. I just need to use my directional keys. So we'll have to see what new developments come up. In my quest to conquer this game, I'm pretty optimistic so far. It doesn't strike me as being a particularly hard game for the majority of it, although I did start on the beginner difficulty. The concepts were very easy to get down, and I get the feeling that difficulty is going to mostly come from speed, but I won't keep my conclusion on speculation. For now, I'm definitely going to recommend this as a buy to anybody who enjoys arcade or fast-paced games, especially if they prefer a more cerebral experience, because there is a lot of quick strategy involved in how you play this game and maximize your score. Especially the price points. The price point is incredibly cheap. If you get it without the DLC, I believe it's $10, assuming that you're buying it at full price, and that strikes me as an excellent deal for all the content that we are seeing. Until next time, this is RocketEthereal signing off.